If you are someone who knows that they can explode in business, you know that you can attract dream clients, you know that you can take your income to the next level, you know that this passion, this knowledge of yours, you know that you could spread that to more people, and that will lead to the abundance, the success, and the fulfillment that you're striving for, that you're deeply desiring. I want you to know that the thing that's holding you back is not the perfect strategy. It's not the perfect coach. It's not the perfect timing, and it's not this perfect piece of content that goes viral and helps everyone to discover you. In fact, the reason why you're not getting the results is because you're so focused on the strategy. Picture it like it's in track and field. You know how there's hurdles and people race each other to get to the end result? Winners don't focus on the hurdles themselves. Of course, the strategy matters for how to overcome them, but they're not focused on that. They're not focused on the competition. They're focused on the end goal. They're focused on where they're going. They're also focused on who do they need to become in order to deserve those results. So they're focused on fulfilling their best version of themselves, their highest capacity, their highest potential. And also, they're focused on if I achieve this, what will this do for the world? Picture someone like Michael Phelps. There's actually a picture of him racing and swimming, and there's a competitor right next to him. The competitor is focused on Michael Phelps, but Michael Phelps is focused on the end result. He's focused on himself, his vision, his dreams, and also how that will inspire other people. That's what you need to do in this space with your business. So if you are feeling stuck, there's three things that you need to do to reach your end result and have success with fulfillment. The first one is you must start by stepping fully into the highest version of yourself now. And you need to do that by remembering who you are and why you're doing this. People think that after they get the result, then they'll feel this way. Well, you need to start here. And the second step is that you must let go of the shit that's holding you back. In the track and field analogy, people might be worried about what other people think. Maybe they have limiting beliefs. Maybe they're focused on the competition. Maybe they're focused on the exact strategy to get over the hurdles. But you got to let go of that in order to do the things that you know you're supposed to do. So that's step number three. And then once you actually accomplish that, you need to celebrate the fuck out of that. You need to really own that and you need to let your light shine. Not from an egotistical way, but from a place that inspires other people. And that's where you will truly unlock the next version of you and explode your business. So let's dive into each of these steps because I'm actually very recently I went through these steps myself and I want to share this from a place of my own personal experience. So starting with step number one, how do you go about stepping into the fullest version of you and remembering who you are and why you're doing this? Remember, you don't want to wait to be who you are. You want to start doing that right now because that will serve as fuel and it will help you to overcome those hurdles. And so, what needs to happen is you need to get in your zone. You need to reconnect with day one energy. So, that energy when you first started this, do you remember how excited you were? Do you remember that vision you had? Remember how giddy you were at the thought of this business really taking off the ground? At the thought of maybe leaving your 9 to 5, providing for your family. You need to reconnect with that and let that inspire you, let that light you up. I recently did that and I reconnected to what Ari the creator was really about. And it's funny because when you start going through this process and you start experiencing success, you need to be grateful for that. But you need to focus on the glass that's half full because a lot of people are just focusing on the glass that's half empty. But when you do that, I'm telling you, it will light you up, and so that's what happened to me when I reconnected with why I started Ari the Creator, and I remember it was when I was in college, and what happened was is that I went through a bunch of shit, okay? It was during COVID, and I was going through a bunch of crap. I got fired from my job, and I decided to fast, and then when you fast, it's like, your body puts less energy towards digesting and more energy goes towards your brain, and so long story short, I took my childhood traumas, uprooted them, and it wasn't ugly, it wasn't a pretty process. I just had things that were locked in my subconscious that went to my conscious, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh," freaked out my family, and then long story short, I was like, "I need to be resilient," and so that was early December of, 2020, and then I launched Are the Creator, my YouTube channel by January 1st of 2021. And so I reconnected with that lately. And I remember that Are the Creator was all about helping people be the creator of their own life, taking control and not letting the cards that you were dealt prohibit you from fulfilling your highest potential, but rather using that as kind of like a weapon, kind of like the underdog advantage. Like you were dealt a bad hand, but you're gonna make a really good move because of that. And you being dealt a bad hand motivated you to want to make a change, to want to make a difference. So, Are the Creator was about that. It was about being a student of life. It was about being excited, wanting to learn, and just creating your own path in life, not following the road often traveled, carving your own path and going down that way. And eventually that led to what I'm doing now with helping people to use YouTube to attract clients, not needing to rely on the YouTube Partners program, because if you have a business, well, then you can monetize your gifts by helping your audience on a higher level. And so I see YouTube as one of the most powerful vehicles to creating your own life. And so when I reconnected with that, lately, that's when I really stepped into the highest version of me and I got excited again. And I looked at my brand, and it's funny, it's kind of like, you start somewhere and you have a goal to be somewhere. And when you do this evaluation, you're going to realize, oh wow, I came a really long way, and be grateful for that. Remember, the glass is half full, but you may have also realized, I was trying to go from here to here, but I was slightly skewed in this direction. It's kind of like a boat sailing. So I have a marine biology degree. We used to sail boats, and the wind would take you off course a bit, and so you have to constantly correct yourself. And so some things may steer you off course. We'll talk more about that when I dive into step number 2 of what you need to let go of, because there's certain things that may be taking you off course. But back to step 1. How do you become the person that you're supposed to be? Because remember, it's like in track and field. In order to get the results, you have to really be the person who deserves to win. This doesn't mean you have to be like someone who you're not. This means that you need to decide to step into a better version of you. And so some examples of what that may look like, especially for your business, you can't be someone who likes to hold people's hands. You just can't, because being a hand holder isn't going to get you to where you want to go. And, I really see that with my clients. I used to hold my clients' hands, but now I'm in a phase where it's like, I'm not going to hold your hand. It's like if a coach in track and field was holding someone's hand as they were going over the hurdles. No, a good coach reminds people who the F they are and what they're capable of. And a good coach reminds them of the end result. And, they tell them to focus on your own lane, don't get caught up in the competition, and let go of your limiting beliefs. That's a good coach. Otherwise, if the coach always held that person's hand, they're always going to need to rely on the coach to be there during the race. But no, like, you need to be self-led. You need to take full responsibility. You need to be a whatever it takes kind of person. If you want to win, you have to have that attitude of, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I've had clients in the past where they seen me as kind of like a crutch. And this is earlier on in my business when I allowed people to do this. I don't do this anymore. I've grown and evolved. I have boundaries. But there were people where it's like, oh, if Ari doesn't help me with this, then, well, I guess I'm not successful. My success lies in Ari's hands. No, I don't work with those people. You need to be a whatever it takes kind of person. You're going to be someone who figures it out, who finds a way. It's like when I was in college and I started Ari the Creator. I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know how to start a YouTube channel. I didn't know how to create a website. But remembering who I was and committing to be a whatever it takes type of person, I'm telling you, it's so much easier to hop over the hurdles in the race. Like, I didn't know how to create a website, but I was so fueled by this excitement, that I easily overcame it. And of course, the strategy matters. You got to in track, you got to know your form. In business, you have to know certain things. You got to know the logical of, oh, how do I create a website? How do I set this up? How do I do that? And I do teach that to people. But that's only 20% of the pie. It's only 20%. Someone in track can have not the best form when they're hopping over the hurdles, but if they have a really good mentality, even if they stumble a little bit, they're going to get back up. They're going to keep going because their vision, their mind is just driving them. It's fueling them. And they're a whatever it takes type of person. That's what you need to be in your business. In order to succeed with this, you also need to become a person who is less in their head and more in their heart. Especially like if you're running like a track race, If you're so much in your head about the hurdles, oh, what if I fall? What if the audience thinks I'm slow? Well, then guess what? You're not going to win. You got to be more in your heart. The same thing goes for your business. If you're so worried about what your family thinks, if you're so worried about, these trolls on YouTube, what their comments are going to be, you're not going to win with this. You have to be connected to your heart. You have to see the audience. You have to see the bigger mission, and you need to really see that younger version of you, the one that was all big, wide-eyed and hopeful and, wanting to start this business, even when you were a really little kid. Because I'm sure if you're watching this, you had that feeling since you were a kid that you knew you were going to accomplish something great. You owe it to that kid. And to connect with that, you need to be less in your head and more in your heart. When you become that type of person, whew, business becomes not only easier, but it becomes way more fun, way less tedious. You will be excited to get out of bed in the morning. That's very powerful. To have your business explode, you also need to be someone who lets your creativity flow. A lot of people, they let other things restrict their creativity. I fell into this trap. I used to let the rules of YouTube restrict me. I used to think that my thumbnails needed to be a certain way, my scripts, my editing, but it wasn't until lately where I said, F all that. Being a creator means that you go by the beat of your own drum. And so what I mean by that is I'm not saying thumbnails and SEO and titles aren't important. They are, and I teach that stuff, but this is what matters more. Being you, because I've done the thing. I've followed these templates. I've put myself in a box. And whenever I did that, I didn't get the results that I wanted. But when I let all that go and I said, you know what? I'm going to show up the way I want to, unapologetically. That's when people resonated with me. And so you need to let your creativity flow and not put it in a box. And find your find out how to get in your zone to unlock that level of creativity, because there was a while where I wasn't in my creative flow. And what I had to do was, and this is for me personally, my creativity really goes free when I'm at the beach, when I don't have my cell phone and I just have a pad of paper and a pen. My creativity goes wild. And I bring the pen and paper so that I can capture it all, because when ideas, it's kind of like they're not even my ideas. It's like ideas come to me. Aligned ideas come to me and I write it all down because I'm capturing it, because they're all these ideas are coming and I gotta write it down. I gotta write it down. So that's my thing. Maybe your thing is something else. Maybe for you, it's going for a walk every morning with your dog. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's canoeing. It could be anything. And you don't have to write it down. Maybe you could just take a little voice recorder and record all your ideas and then act on it later. If you become that type of person, the type of person who allows your ideas to shine through, who allows themselves to be them, you become very powerful. And that's when things won't hold you back anymore. You will soar to your dreams. Of course, there will be hurdles. Remember, it's like the track analogy. You might stumble over a hurdle, and that's okay. That's fine. What matters is, do you get back up? What matters is, if you stumble over a hurdle, do you get so lost in, oh my God, what will other people think? Was that caught on video? It's like, get over it. You're a human. Keep going, keep going. It's like there's videos of people in track and field where, there's a bunch of hurdles and then like one of the racers will trip over the first one. Well, all the other racers keep running and then they get back up and then they pass everybody. That's phenomenal. People relate more with that runner versus if there was a runner who did everything, perfectly and just made it. People remember that. People remember the underdog. And you will have a lot of respect for yourself. And that's when you really become the creator of your life. Remember, I'm already the creator, but that's because you're the creator. And I'm hoping that this message really awakens that within you. So yeah, in order to explode your business, you need to be the creator, you need to be the leader, you need to be someone who sees the glass half full. And again, when I say glass half full, a lot of people get lost in where they're not. So if they have a glass and it's half full, a lot of people focus on what's empty. And I did this too. And I'll talk more about that in a second, but the point is like if you need to focus on what you've done. from day one to now. Because think of how far you've gotten into, like, in your business. Even a year ago, 3 years ago, when you started, if you told yourself that you would be here, your mind would be blown. But here you are today, just focused on this. Be grateful for this. That's who you need to become. And then your energy will be very magnetizing. That's when your business will really explode. And when I talk about a business exploding, this doesn't mean that, like, you go viral. This means that more people wanna work with you. This means that you're more in the zone. You're earning more money, more abundance, more of what you wanted. That's when the glass starts to fill up. And so that's where you wanna be. Another thing I wanna remind you of when it comes to focusing on the person who you need to become, don't focus on external validation, because I fell into this trap too, especially on a platform like YouTube. You focus so much on the views, you focus so much on the subscribers, you focus so much on that silver play button, and it's good to have those goals. However, what you really want to focus on is not on the external validation and more of how you're going to own it, how it's going to impact you and other people. Long story short, when I was in college, I was the first woman to graduate from Indiana University as a female marine biology graduate. And so I remember like as I was going through the process, I was focused on the impact. I was focused on me, but I remember when I crossed the finish line and I got that reward, I remember that they didn't, like, commend me for it. They didn't write an article, like, and it was during COVID time, so it was difficult. And so there was a while where I was a bit, like, upset. It's like, wow, I did all that work and I didn't even get recognition. And it wasn't that I wanted recognition, but I really wanted an article to inspire, like, a little girl somewhere or a little boy, like someone, like, I wanted my story to inspire them. And I was like, I entered a phase where I was like, you know what? I don't need some external reward or some external, article that Indiana University wrote. Let me own it in my videos. And even though this channel isn't about marine biology, I'm sure maybe someone watching has like a niece or a nephew and they can tell them that story and it'll help them to see that anything is possible and that they could be a creator of their life. So you need to do the same too. You need to own your story and you don't need anything external in order to allow yourself to own it and let your light to shine. I want to move on to the second step because we talked a lot about the first step, which was just a reminder how to step into the highest version of yourself and remember who you are and why you're doing this. That has to come first. And once you remember that, then you can let go of the shit that's holding you back. Talking about the track analogy, remember that a lot of people are holding up on, oh my God, what do other people think? They're focusing on other people's lanes. Their attention is elsewhere. And in order for them to reach their end goal, in order for them to step into the next version of them, they need to let go of the shit that's holding them back. The same thing goes for in your business. You must take care of what you know you need to do to show up as the person who you need to be. And so I want you to think about your business. What are things that are holding you back in your business from exploding your business, from reaching your highest potential? Get out a piece of paper and write them down. And I'm going to share some of my own because I'm sure many people can relate to what I'm about to share. But I'm actually in this phase now. Just so you know, these 3 steps, there aren't something that's one and done. Whether you're someone who's just starting in business or you're someone who has a 7 or 8 figure business, this is something that constantly needs to be done in order to reach that next level. And so I'm in this phase right now where I'm actually still in the process of burning stuff down in order to build anew. And it's not like a light switch. It's not like you can immediately let stuff go. There's a process and some of this stuff takes time. And let me give you a few examples. So one thing that I'm letting go of is that I moved to San Diego because I love the vibe here and I knew that there would be more opportunities for me to grow my business and to make connections. And one thing that I even did this on a conscious level, I might have even said it on my YouTube channel, I'm really inspired by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is really someone who I look up to, and back in his day, I forget when it was, maybe 1970s or 1980s, whenever it was, he was in San Diego Southern California very young, and he did certain things to get to where he wants to be. Tony is a leading voice in his industry. That man can talk about anything under the sun, anything about personal development or wealth or health, and I eventually want to get there. And I saw that Tony Robbins, in order to get there, he niched down first before he went broad. He was focusing on infomercials and NLP. And so I thought, okay, let me niche down on YouTube, which I'm still happy about. But one thing that Tony Robbins did, which I modeled, is that he was doing a lot of speaking gigs and a lot of in-person events. And I thought that that's what I needed to do. And so I even invested a lot of money. I won't say exactly how much. I invested a lot of money in a leadership program that would put me on stages, that would help me with my speaking, that would help me to run my own in-person events. And I do business with my life partner, and he got me to open my eyes. And he got me to realize, he was like, like, your goal is to master the online world, and here you are doing stuff in person. He's like, doesn't it make more sense to put more of your time and your energy into videos like this versus speaking on stages places where it's not even a room of our dream client, of our, perfect target audience? And I told him, I was like, well, down the line, I want to do my own events. And so I want to practice my speaking. And he was like, that makes sense. However, it would be much wiser to put most of your time in the online space, grow your audience more there, and then you can plan your own event, and then you can hire a speaking coach to help you with in person. And he was like, that's going to feel much better for you, because the event, it's like you get to lead it, it's your vision, versus if you're speaking on other people's stages, I'm not leading it, it's not as aligned. And again, like, I've been doing this route, this in-person route, for like the past 3 to 4 months, and we've gotten leads for the business, but it felt like we were pulling teeth. In other words, these were people who weren't on YouTube, they weren't in the online space, and it's like we had to convince them why they needed to be online. And we did an evaluation, and our best leads came from YouTube. They came from YouTube, they came from our free live channel audits. I do those twice a month, by the way, if you want to sign up. I review your YouTube channel, and when I do that, I get the best, the people who I could best serve. And he was right, that's more in alignment. It would make more sense for me to focus more on that versus going on these stages. And so that's one thing I had to let go of. And so I actually left that leadership group because it wasn't in alignment with my vision. And I'm actually taking that approach where I'm going to focus online, and then I'm still practicing like my speaking in front of a camera, but it's a little bit different when people are in the room with you. So there's a learning curve there, but I'll hire a coach down the line for that to help with my speaking. So that's one thing. Some other things I'm letting go of. And by the way, everyone, one of my mentors gave me a really good analogy for this. She was like, it's like you're entering into a new phase. You're being this best version of you. It's kind of like you bought this new mansion. You're inviting people to it to come on this journey to experience this mansion, but it's like there's trash in there. Imagine like stinky trash. Oof, it smells. You can't enjoy it as much. And so, in order to really embrace the new space and to not have smelly garbage, you got to take stuff out that's not serving you. So this is like taking out the trash. And so you need to do this too. Because remember, everyone, that time and energy is very valuable. So for example, like when I was doing that speaking route, that took my time and energy, and it's kind of like the boat. It wasn't exactly going to the destination. It was kind of off course a bit. I still progressed forward, but now we got to like take time to readjust and recorrect. So yes, time is valuable, and you want to let go of things that aren't aligned with your vision and mission, and things are just taking up too much time that aren't as effective. And so another thing that I'm letting go of is some of my client offers. So I have some offers set up that I don't offer publicly anymore, but there's people who've been on these offers for a while, like doing it month to month, and they're set up in a way to where I'm holding their hand, or I'm trying to convince them why they should post content on YouTube. And I created that. I mean, I take full responsibility. I set up my offers in a way. I even put in some of my offers, Ari, in your back pocket. But if I'm telling a client that I'm going to be there in their back pocket, then it's kind of like they're using me as a crutch. And it's kind of like I feel like I'm not as good of a leader, as good as a coach, because it's kind of like I'm teaching people how to go over these hurdles, these problems in their business, and they want to hold my hand. But it would be much better if I didn't hold their hand and I told them how to lead themselves. I told them how they can come to the answers, how they could remember the end goal, remember who they are, and that will help them much more seamlessly get there. And so I'm letting go of some of my client offers. I also had some agency offers. So I have a team of video editors, and I had some offers that, like my team would take care of it for them, but I don't really like that dynamic anymore. It's just not something that feels in alignment where I do like video editing and like some graphic making for clients. So I'm letting that go. Not saying that that model's wrong. You can have an agency, but just wasn't really what I want to do. I'd rather lead people in a group setting or one-on-one. And I only want to do done for you services for people who have a really aligned mission, for people who I know are going to put in the work and they know how to, they know how to make content and stuff. They're just looking to be more efficient with their time. So I do help people still with funnels, but only if it's really, really aligned. And so, because yeah, I don't want to be doing all this video editing and funnels for people if they're not going to take leadership and do what's required to get the word out, to make content and build an audience. So yes, I'm letting go of some dynamics I have with clients. I'm no longer going to be holding their hands. I'm letting go of some of the dynamics I have with my team. I have a team of 3, and I'm just letting go of some old ways of doing things and implementing newer and better ways of doing things. Some other little side things, I'm in the process of letting go of living in the city. It's just not serving me. And so everyone, even your external environment matters. You need to let go of things that aren't serving you externally in order to step fully into the new. Sometimes there's things that you can't let go of. So for example, if you I'm trying to think of a good example. I'll give you one. Like let's say you have a baby, who's screaming and crying all the time. That's something externally that's probably hindering you from hopping over hurdles effectively, but there's some things like that, like you're not gonna get rid of your baby. I mean, you could, but like no, like no one's gonna do that. Like if it's like you're really their baby and they want to take care of it. And so there's some things that you need to learn to work around, but there's some things that you can let go of. Like me living in the city, I can move out of that. I have more freedom and power because there's nothing holding me here. Another thing too is I'm letting go of taking pharmaceuticals. That's a whole different tangent, but I don't think I should be relying on that to be the best version of me. I think I need to like just be very clean in my eating and in my breathing and like drinking like good water, putting good things in me because like how can I show up fully for all of you if I'm not doing that? The same thing goes for you and your audience. And these aren't excuses, everyone. This is real stuff. Like if you're putting like if you're taking pharmaceuticals that are like affecting your mentality and how you show up, like that's a real thing that you need to, learn to work around. Like even living in the city, sometimes it affects my sleep. And so that's why sometimes I can't make content the way I want to because it's literally affecting me. It's not an excuse, but it's like it's something that needs to be adjusted. Like you can't show up if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're not good mentally. Like you need to take care of you first. So to do that, you need to let go of what's not serving you. So yes, everyone, you need to be taking the right steps towards your goal. And again, that requires letting go of a lot of things. And one good way to know if you're in the right track is there's a really good book. It's this book right here, Ask and It Is Given. I don't like the intro of that book, so you could skip that part because there's something in there that causes like a disconnect. I recommended that book, but they'd mention like some type of spirit communicating with someone, which I don't think is relevant. I think you skip over that part because the meat of this book is really good. But I don't know why they even added that section. I think it can cause confusion for a lot of people. But the point is like later in that book, they mention a system called the emotional guidance system. And so what it is you can actually use your emotions as a compass. So if you're heading in a direction and it doesn't feel right, something feels off, that likely means that it's not in alignment with your desires. Even when I was going through this leadership program that I invested a lot of money in, like many 5 figures, even if you're like Like, it's something didn't feel right about it. And it took my life partner to really, like, open my eyes to it because I just felt, like, locked into it, but he helped me take back control. So, it's good to have people in your corner who truly have your best interest. But I wasn't listening to my emotional guidance system. But if I listened to that, I would have gotten back on course much more sooner, or I wouldn't have even said yes to that route. I would have seen it sooner and I would have been much further. But it's okay. You need to realize that you are where you are for a reason, and everything is all learning and it's all happening for you, not to you. So, really evaluate the steps that you're taking now towards your goal and ask yourself, are these steps going to get me to where I want to go? And if not, then ask yourself, what do I need to let go of? That moves us on to step number 3, which is stepping into that new version of you. And remember, everyone, that we felt that from the beginning, but after you really let stuff go, then you can like really be in the now with the new version of you because you let everything go. There's nothing holding you back, and you become very grounded and solid in you. That's what step 3 is really about. It's doing what you know you're supposed to be doing to get the result that you're after. So start making the content. Don't sit in your booty. Like, start making the offers. Start showing up the way that you know you're supposed to be showing up. And when you get the results, celebrate the F out of that. Celebrate that like crazy, like own it. Seriously, like I used to not own it. I used to not. When I used to get a big win, I would actually beat myself up and be like, "Oh my God, like yes, I got this win, but I should be doing much better." But that's glass half empty type thinking. You need to celebrate that. And even if you trip over a hurdle, even if you try something and you mess up, let's say you get on a phone call with a dream client and let's say you just totally drop the ball, get back up. Celebrate that too. Celebrate what you learned. Celebrate that you even attracted that person and be confident that you're going to attract more. And keep doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing. Stay in your zone. Manage your time. Don't just sit and hope that things fall into your lap. No, like show up. Do the thing. And that's how you really explode your business. It might not happen like a light switch. After you let things go and after you start doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, it likely won't just come like this. It's going to take some time. And you might get all pouty and think, what the F? I listened to Ari's advice and things aren't coming. Well, it's likely because that you're not in alignment with the person who you know you're supposed to become. Because remember, you are a whatever it takes type of person. You're a glass half full type of person. And you're someone who you're going to do this to the day you die. If this is truly your life mission, you're going to keep going and going and going. I'm not saying like you can't retire or anything, but you guys get the point. like don't get all pouty. Like just hold the vision and keep going. And sometimes that can be a leap. It could feel like a leap of faith going from like stepping into that because maybe stepping into that requires you again to let go of certain things and then to take a new route. And so you need to follow your heart again because you did this before. You took a leap when you started your business, when you started your YouTube channel, and you're taking a leap to get what you created to the next level. And so when it comes to this, I really encourage you to follow your heart again, do it scared again, do it brave again, and really trust yourself. Really trust in yourself and know that your results aren't in someone else's hands. Don't blame your coach or don't blame your parents for raising you a certain way. Because when you do that, again, you get tripped over the hurdles. And even remember, even if you trip over, you're going to get back up. And when it comes to your business, especially if you're someone making content, especially on a platform like YouTube, don't be in the mentality of, okay, what do I need to say in my content so that people buy? No, really reconnect with how you want to be so that people feel inspired by you. Remember, it's all about who you're meant to become. This is all coming in full circle. And when you're showing up, like when you're really in the moment, kind of like how I am now, I'm filming content. You don't want to try to be like someone else. Don't try to be like me in your content. Don't try to be like Gary Vee or Alex Hormozy or whoever you're modeling, whoever else that you admire. You have to be you, like fully. It's kind of like It's like in the mansion when you got rid of all the trash. Now you can really like embrace the space and enjoy it. There's nothing smelly. It's like you get to be in it. And again, like really have gratitude for that. And also remember too that when you're in that process, when you're in like the now of making things happen, just remember that the conditions are never going to be perfect. The conditions are never going to be perfect. And the thing is that even if like people aren't like the reason why people don't succeed in this is because it's like they're not brave enough to be themselves. People aren't succeeding with this, it's because they're afraid of showing parts of themselves that are true. They're afraid of other people's judgments. They're afraid of success. But when you're in this, you need to really trust that abundance is going to come to you. This is the phase where I'm at. Well, I'm still kind of in phase 2 of letting things go because again, that's a process, not like a light switch. But again, to really make it work, because you could be in step 2 and 3 at the same time. To really make it work, you need to really trust that abundance is going to come to you. You need to trust that, that you're worthy of it. You need to trust in yourself to not block it, and you need to welcome it, and you need to become in alignment with it because it's kind of like after you like let things go that aren't serving you, it's kind of like your glass is full. And even when the glass is full, sometimes people make excuses still, and they're making excuses because of this stuff, because they're afraid of success, because they're afraid of what other people think. But again, like you need to trust that it'll come to you and you don't want to chase it. What a lot of people do in this phase, what a ton of people do is they'll start doing something for a while and they think like, oh, this whole thing is a waste of time. It's not working. Like some people do YouTube and they use it to try to grow their business. And after 2 or 3 months, they're like, what the heck? I should be much further than where I am. And so what they do is they start questioning the game itself. They start thinking like, oh, like YouTube isn't good overall. Maybe I shouldn't even be on YouTube. Maybe I should be posting on, TikTok. Maybe I should be posting on LinkedIn. And it's kind of like they changed the game. Instead of being a track runner, they're like, well, tracks must not be working because, I'm doing everything, but I'm not winning races. So maybe swimming. Maybe like I'm only meant for swimming, but it's like even in swimming, there's like swimming has its own hurdles. It's kind of like if someone does YouTube and they're like, well, this isn't working, let me do TikTok. And so they totally disregard YouTube and then go into TikTok. But then they start doing TikTok and the same thing happens. They're like, oh, I'm doing this thing a certain way, like how all the gurus say, and it's not happening. Well, let me go do what's another thing? Track swimming. I don't know. Maybe, let me go do race car driving. And it's like the same thing happens, but all those sports are the same. Even like what's it called? Like rafting, I like water rafting with the paddle. It's like and skiing, you need to focus on what you want, where you want to go, who you need to be. Because like even like in skiing, they say if you focus on the trees, you're gonna end up crashing into trees. But if you're focused on where you want to go, where the snow is, where the openings are, and you hold that you're a confident person, because if you start thinking like, oh my God, I'm like a clumsy person, and then you're on these skis, you're gonna stumble because you're not focusing on who you need to be. So I'm telling you, everyone, like this stuff works, and you need to be glass half full. And I am telling you, I fell into this trap too. I've been doing YouTube for a while, and I've been getting really good clients. That's not even an understatement. Like I get the best clients from YouTube. And that's even for me, like not being perfect. I'm not perfect with this whole thing, but I put in my authenticity. I show up, I give value, and that's enough. And of course, I want to take it to the next level. Of course, I want more clients who are aligned to our dream clients. But when I sit back and I'm like, the glass is really like more than half full. It's like up to here, and I'm just focusing on the 5%. It's like, oh, wow, like, why was I doing that? And you need to do the same, even if you're not doing like YouTube, whatever you're doing. But if you are focusing on YouTube, I'm telling you, it's a really great platform to be. Long form video is really making a comeback. Seriously, like regardless of what niche you're in, regardless of which niche, long form is really coming back. And think about it, if you want to attract your dream clients, then they likely have a larger attention span, regardless of niche. If you're helping with weight loss, the clients from TikTok are more likely going to be looking for quick results, quick doses of dopamine, versus YouTube is for people who are really committed to their health. I watched a long form fitness video this morning, and that's why I'm bringing it up. And so I really encourage you, if you're on YouTube, like, keep going, like, keep putting your all into it. And if you're someone who wants help with stepping into the fullest version of you on YouTube, I want you to know that you don't want to be focusing on the views and subscribers. That's like focusing on the hurdle. That's like focusing too much on the strategy. And if you do that, you're going to, you're not going to get the results that you want. And so if you are someone who's focusing on YouTube, I do encourage you to sign up for my free live channel reviews. And what I'm doing is before the session, so I go live twice a month on YouTube and I critique your content, your branding, and I even look at your sales funnel. So the web pages that turn a viewer on YouTube into a buyer. I'll look at that and I will critique you, but what I'm doing is before the session, I'm going to be watching your content and I'm going to be assessing how you're coming off. I'm going to be assessing your energy, and I'm also going to be critiquing that during the channel review because that's a really good metric to determine how aligned someone is. If you're showing up on camera and you're being super robotic and you're all like, click the link down below to buy now, and you're so focused on what do I need to say in order for people to buy, I'm going to call you out because that's not what you want to be doing. The mentality shouldn't be, what should I say so that people buy? The mentality should be, how can I embody the best version of me so that I inspire people and I attract the right people like a magnet? And so I'll be watching your content, and you could tell when someone's being themselves. You could just tell. Everybody can tell. Everybody has like that sense to a degree. And I'm going to be calling you out because that's the sauce. That's why I'm really good at doing what I'm doing. Again, I was never perfect at this whole process, but I do have some really good videos where I'm just being me, I'm being fun, I'm being playful. Some of the most random videos are not even about my niche. Like I'm on a skateboard, like, and it's like a music video type of video. It's really fun and playful. I got a bunch of clients from that, more so than some of my videos that are more like strategy and logic and logistics. So the point is that I'll be critiquing that so that you can truly get to where you want to go. So I encourage you to sign up for the free live channel reviews. And yeah, if you are aligned, so I review YouTubers who are using it as a vehicle to get more clients, to spread their message, to grow their brand. That's who I'm critiquing, and I do them twice a month. And also, I do offer guidance with this. I do have my YouTube Business Accelerator. You can click the link down below to learn more and apply if you feel called to. There's different levels of my support, but overall, there is group and the option for private support. I give feedback, I answer Q&As. There's a library of material that you can go through to answer a lot of your questions. Yes, I have a lot of stuff in there about mindset, but it's mainly about the strategy. Because of course the mindset is the most important, but of course the strategy needs to be in place. And I don't want you to get tripped up over those hurdles, so I made a whole library just for you. But the main thing with the group is I'm there to help you to step into the fullest version that you know you're supposed to be. I'm your coach when it comes to track and field. I'm not going to hold your hand, but I'm going to help you remember the end goal, remember who the F you are, of course, help you with the strategy because you want to have like, good form, good technique. But the main thing is focusing on the right thing and remembering the end goal and helping you be the best version of you. That is what I'm here for. And if that's you, go ahead and drop a hashtag #IamACreator down below and sign up for the channel reviews and check out the accelerator. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But this is a really fun video for me to make. I'm really honored and glad to share this with all of you and to be your guide throughout this process. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.